Welcome, everyone, to the Unitarian Universalist Church. My name is Reverend Joyce, and I serve as the assistant minister here. Whether this is your first time in a Unitarian Universalist congregation, or you have been in this sanctuary many times before, you are welcome here. We are glad you found your way to this gathering, and we are grateful for the love that has brought you. Love for Jesse, love for Libby, and the whole circle of family and friends who are missing him today. As Unitarian Universalists, we are a liberal religious community. We draw wisdom from many sources, and we try to live by values that include compassion, justice, and respect for the inherent worth and dignity of every person. If you're new here, I want you to know you do not have to believe one particular thing to belong in this space today. What matters is that we show up for one another with care. So today, welcome to this sanctuary, a place of hope, memory, and love, a place where you can breathe, a place where you can be exactly as you are. Whether you are feeling steady or shaken, whether your grief is quiet or close to the surface, in our time together, you may hear stories that make you smile and others that bring tears. All of it belongs. Libby, we hold you in our hearts today. As many of you know, Libby does things her own way. And today, she has chosen to deliver Jesse's eulogy herself. We are grateful for her courage and her love. And Libby, as you speak, please know you do not carry this moment alone. We are here with you. It is my privilege to share this time with you and everyone here as we remember and celebrate Jesse's long and beautiful life. As we speak his name, tell the stories that matter and hold what he gave us. His joyful spirit, his deep respect for others, and the music that brought so much beauty into our lives. We light a chalice at the beginning of our services. This flame is a symbol of our Unitarian Universalist faith, the light of truth, the warmth of love, and the power of community to gather us in, especially in times like these. The light of the chalice reminds us that even in times of sorrow, love still shines. And that when we gather in community, we do not have to carry life alone. Today, as we remember Jesse, we light this flame in gratitude for the life he lived. I invite Jesse's son, Stephan, to come forward to light our chalice now. So I want to name that while I didn't have as many day-to-day moments with Jesse as some of you did, I came to know him in the ways that matter, in worship planning in the summer, and the steady presence he brought into our shared life together. I always admired his joyful spirit, his warmth, his humor, and the quiet spark that would brighten the room. Jesse came to Rockford a little over a decade ago from Seattle. He was new to Unitarian Universalism, having grown up Jewish, and he once shared that he identified strongly with our first UU principle, the respect for the inherent worth and dignity of every person. Jesse lived that respect. He carried it gently through the way he spoke, the way he listened, and the way he moved through the world. We were blessed too by Jesse's immense musical talent. He accompanied our choir, offered piano solos, and served as our summer musician. He gave this community beauty and steadiness again and again. His talents were also recognized beyond our congregation, as Jesse was invited to play a piano solo with the Rockford Symphony Orchestra. And today, we also hold Jesse's Jewish roots with gratitude. Rabbi Bina Wing and the people of Temple Bethel shared words of remembrance, telling us how Jesse served their congregation during a time of transition, especially by helping lead the choir for the High Holy Days, Rosh Hashanah, and Yom Kippur. They spoke of how meaningful it was to have someone so deeply familiar with Jewish tradition and music, and how Jesse brought both professional skill and real care in that leadership. They also shared Jesse was proud of his Jewish heritage and that it mattered to him to be of service. In the Jewish tradition, there's a phrase spoken after someone dies: "May his memory be for a blessing." Today, we add our voice to that blessing. As we begin to share our own remembrances, I want to offer a reading that Libby and I shared together, words from Rabbi Salman. Libby and I both felt the beauty in it and the way it speaks to love and gratitude and the holiness in human life. God, you made me from before I was born. You took me through my life. You supported me. You were there with me when I wasn't there with you. There were times I was sick and you healed me. There was times I was in despair and you gave me hope. There were times when I felt betrayed and I could still turn to you. It was a wonderful life. I loved and I was loved. I sang, I heard music, I saw flowers, I saw sunrises and sunsets. Even in places when I was alone, you, in my heart, helped me turn loneliness into precious solitude. And I look back over the panorama of my life. What a wonderful privilege this was. I still have some concerns for people in my family, for the world, for the planet. I put them in your blessed hands. I trust that whatever in the web of life that needed me to be here is now completed. I thank you for taking the burden from me, and I thank you for keeping me in the light. And I let go, and let go, and let go. As we take in these words, it was a wonderful life. I loved and I was loved. I sang, I heard music, I saw flowers, sunrises and sunsets. I can't help but hear echoes of Jesse. This was Jesse's way of living. Music as a language of the heart, nature as a steady companion, and love as something both to give and receive. Jesse noticed beauty. He made beauty, and he helped the rest of us notice it too. Jesse once said in an interview, "We are water babies." Many of us know what he meant. The Rock River, the trails, the parks of the city. Jesse loved being here, in this city and in this community. Today, we hold that spirit close. Gratitude for a life that took joy seriously and met the days with wonder. And now, I invite our music director, Tim Anderson, to come forward as we begin to share memories of Jesse, followed by Leah Gima and David Lanz.
I don't think that I'm revealing any trade secrets by telling you that some musicians can be a real pain to work with. But that's what makes it wonderful and special to find people like Jesse Parker, who was a musical friend to so many throughout his life. I consider it a true privilege and joy to have made so much music with Jesse since he and Libby settled in Rockford many years ago. Jesse often played for services here, mostly while I was away, but he also sang for many years in our chancel choir and with the Camerata Emanon singers, and we're all familiar with his preeminent skill as both a solo and collaborative pianist. Apart from his talent, though, the thing I have always admired most about Jesse was his approach to music. In all the times that we worked together, there was no ego, no concern for the spotlight. All I ever experienced was someone who loved music and who loved making music and talking about music and learning about music and sharing what he knew about music. These were the common themes in all my musical encounters with Jesse. Working with Jesse was always, without exception, a pleasure. If I had to pick one musical experience that Jesse and I shared that shows his approach most clearly, it would be when we, along with Ruli Stallman and Joel Ross, performed music scored for 4 pianists as part of a concert at the Mendelssohn Performing Arts Center in 2022. For Bumble Boogie, we were paired up at facing grand pianos, but for Lavignac's Galop, all 4 of us sat snugly at one piano. Additional seating required. Each of us playing our notes, reaching over, ducking under, leaning in, leaning back, turning pages, hoping against all odds to finish the piece together. Hilarity ensued as we rehearsed to figure out how to make it through the piece without injuring ourselves or others. As you can imagine, there was much laughter and conviviality, and we weren't even drinking. We rehearsed mostly in the mornings. Jesse, and all of us really, just took it all in stride. Last night, I watched the video of our performance again. Jesse was on the end toward the camera. And even though the angle didn't show his face clearly, there was no doubt about it. His body language showed clearly that he was beaming all the way through. For Jesse and for all of us, the fun came in working with other like-minded people, people who simply love making music with each other and sharing their performance with others. If I can, I'll close by sharing something from the Jewish tradition that I think applies perfectly. In the Hebrew Scriptures, Micah chapter 6, verse 8, we find direction about what it means to live a good life. What is required of us? That we do justice, that we love mercy, and that we walk humbly with our God. Jesse was a kind, caring soul with a passion for justice and a true sense of humility, a rare combination in this world of ours. We were lucky to know him and will miss him greatly. May his memory always be for a blessing.
My name is Leah Gima, and my pronouns are she, her, and hers. When I moved to Rockford from Milwaukee during the 2022-2023 church year, I found myself in a new city, a new church, and a new choir. I will never forget that first choir rehearsal. For half a century, I had sung alto, but this choir had plenty of altos, so I volunteered for tenor and headed toward the back row, into yet another unfamiliar territory. There I met Jesse and Libby Parker, who welcomed me with open arms and the most loving smiles I had ever seen. They sat me down between them and proceeded to sing into both my ears so that I could learn to read tenor for the first time. Boy, did that help. By the end of the rehearsal, I knew I had come home to my new choir family. For me, Jesse was like the grandpa I never had in my life. He would arrive for rehearsal, his face glowing with a kind of childlike appreciation, totally present to me or whoever he was talking to. And no matter what kind of day I had had, the stress would melt away in that moment. I could always count on him to get the notes right without being critical of me as I stumbled through the tenor line, which gave me a great sense of security. And he was a natural teacher whenever I had trouble learning a part. But he was more than that. He was the embodiment of the spirit of love in that choir and in this church. There is one funny memory that always makes me smile. Brian Gustafson sat on the end of the row and would occasionally improvise very clever political parodies on some of the anthems, much to Jesse's and my delight. Too bad we were the only ones who could hear them. I am grateful for the almost 3 years I knew Jesse. I was hoping for many more singing, more piano, more fascinating stories about his brilliant career. Most of all, I really hope he knows that in the last few years of his amazing life, he made a huge positive difference in my life with his joyful, compassionate heart.
Good morning. I'm Dave Lance. I was Jesse's brother-in-law, Libby's brother. About 25 or so years ago, we had a one-time only Lance family reunion in Toledo, Ohio. And we went to my aunt's church for part of that. And while we were there, she found out that Jesse was a pianist, so she went to show him the piano in the sanctuary. And it was a nice piano. And Jesse started to play from the classic tradition, and pretty soon, very quietly, everybody else came in and sat and listened. And he realized he had an audience, so that he played a couple more pieces, and then gave the most amazing encore. Flat on his back, hands over his head, playing the classic Anchors Aweigh.
Jesse knew how to fill a house. How can I encapsulate 94 years in 10 minutes? I'll do it as quickly as possible. You've already heard some of it. Born in Brooklyn in 1931 and raised in the Bronx by his mother, Celia, and his dad, Morris, little Jesse picked out chords on their upright piano to help accompany his father in popular Yiddish songs that he sang. By the time Jesse was 9, his parents took him to the local settlement house to take piano lessons. The teacher, seeing that Jesse had talent beyond his own instructional skills, introduced him to a recent immigrant from Austria, Paul Wittgenstein, a world-famous concert pianist who had lost his right arm in the First World War but was still concertizing with commissioned pieces from the likes of Ravel and Richard Strauss and Eric Korngold, Sergei Prokofiev, Benjamin Britten, Maurice Ravel, and more. Wittgenstein took Jesse on scholarship and taught him all the way through Jesse's high school education at the High School of Music and Art. When he was a boy, Jesse and his dad, and later his younger brother, earned money singing in a catering company, Jewish men and boy choir. They were common in New York at the time. They hired out to weddings and other occasions. As a teen, Jesse worked in the Catskills at a summer resort. He used to like to tell the story of when he worked for a pajama company and got it in his mind to ask for a raise. He was fired on the spot. One of his other favorite stories was when he was around 11. He won first prize in a big talent show playing Malagueña. A few weeks later, he entered again and sang. He sang, "Oh, what a beautiful morning." A director then called him over to talk to him. He said, "Hey, kid, weren't you on this show a week or two ago playing piano?" Jesse said, "Yes," and that he won first prize. Director said, "Stick to the piano, kid." Celia put all of Jesse's earned money into a savings account. When he graduated high school, his parents told him that now he had to study to become a doctor. Unless he stopped with the music and learned a real profession, they wouldn't release the money they had put in savings for his education. Typical immigrant parents wanted to be sure their sons were really on a good standing. Having no choice, off he went to New York University to study pre-med. He kept up his piano by accompanying the NYU Men's Glee Club. He told me once, he said, "You know, I played in Carnegie Hall as accompanist with the NYU Glee Club." He applied for and won a scholarship to Princeton to continue his music education and was planning to go after he graduated. Jesse never wanted to become a doctor. He fainted at the sight of blood. But fate had more planned for him. He was drafted. He was posted in Korea. And as it was the end of the conflict, Jesse became a clerk typist supporting the exchange of prisoners. Jesse's superiors noticed his aptitude for learning and speaking Korean on his own and approached him with a deal. He says, "Re-up with the Army, and we'll send you to Monterey, California, to our prestigious language school where you will learn Japanese in 1 year. That appealed, and off he went. While Jesse was in California, he met and married his first wife, Joyce. And as Jesse would invariably relate, the military actually managed to post him in Japan. Here he worked in military intelligence. Pause to honor the oxymoron. But because he was Jesse, he found a way to keep playing piano by accompanying a ballet troupe. He also worked off hours as a bouncer in a bar, but that's another story. Back home after his service, he and Joyce moved to Palo Alto, California, and he took a job as a translator for Japanese Airlines. He also took the job of music director of the Reformed Jewish Temple in Palo Alto. He began graduate work at Stanford University, where he earned a PhD in musicology. Pardon me. Both Stanford and that temple became important to me as well. I was still living at home, trying to establish myself in an opera career, when I got a phone call from a man who was hiring soloists for the High Holy Days at his temple. He said my voice coach, Ivan Rasmussen, who taught at Stanford, recommended me. I apologized to the caller, but I was actually on my way down to LA to rehearse an opera. I breezily said, "Call me next year if you need someone." Well, the next year, Jesse called me again. I insisted that he hear me first because maybe my voice would not be what he was looking for. I figured this caller was a tenor, nice high voice, speaking voice, and so he would be a short and dark Jewish guy, right? When I met him, I saw this gorgeous 5'10" male model with dark curly hair, touch of gray, blue eyes, blonde eyebrows, and long blonde eyelashes. He had a slight Northern Russian tilt to his eyes and high cheekbones that made him look so exotic. I accepted the position. I sang for the holidays and was kept on with another soloist to augment the volunteer choir on Friday evenings and occasional Saturday mornings. The Jesse you know was not the Jesse I met. He was not a chit-chatter. He explained early on to me that, and I quote, "I don't do small talk." It was all business there at the temple, and he was rather cold. But he got along well enough with his choir and the professionals. Until one day, a year or so later, after rehearsal, when I was leaving and Jesse came hurrying up behind me, and I thought, maybe I forgot something. But he just accompanied me out of the doors. I may have said something innocuous like, "Nice weather," and he said, "I'm wearing my first pair of jeans." That was the beginning of the big thaw and his emergence as a guy who just needed someone, a friend, to listen as he talked about his upcoming divorce and various other concerns on his mind. He warmed up to the choir, discovered his sense of humor, and became a very different person. Things progressed, and we began dating. After a while, one day we were sitting on a bench on the Stanford grounds while his dog Corey was running around, and out of nowhere he said, "Maybe we should get married." That was my proposal. Jesse was 39, and I was 24. The age difference didn't matter. I was an old soul, and Jesse had then and forever a young spirit. He insisted he wanted to do the old-fashioned custom of asking Daddy for my hand. Daddy said, yes, of course, but Daddy was flummoxed. He kept on finding ways to ask me and Mother and my sister, how old is he anyway? And Mother, my sister Sarah, and I continued to change the subject. I'm sure my mother probably told him something like, hey, someone wants to marry her. Don't spoil it. So the rest is in bullet points. We were married by both rabbis at the temple where we worked. Jesse taught classes and students at Santa Clara University. His first son, Stephan, was born. He became head of the music department at the new branch of University of Texas in Richardson. He formed the Dallas Piano Trio, and they performed to raves all over the area. His second son, Adam, was born. After 4 years, Jesse left the politics and backbiting of university life. Jesse had loved the Seattle area when he vacationed up there, and so instead of depending on a job to direct us to where we were going to live next, we decided to move near Seattle. And we ended up across Lake Washington from Seattle to Bellevue, Washington, where he sold World Book encyclopedias, remember those? Door to door, until he was established as a teacher at Cornish College of the Arts in Seattle and had piano students at home. He still performed, he still taught, and he worked at another Reformed temple in Seattle. Years later, he picked up another degree and became a valued paralegal in a construction law firm in Seattle for 12 years. After Jesse retired, Dave Lance, my big brother, invited Jesse to give a concert at this church. Jesse was impressed with my brother's friends here and all the arts in the area. And as I had family here, we thought about moving to Rockford. This became a reality in 2010. In a year or so, Mike Beard invited him to perform at Rock Valley College. Jesse stayed current in musical activities in the community. Then he was invited to play with the Rockford Symphony Orchestra. Jesse trained and worked with CASA, which is the court-appointed special advocates for children, for a couple of years. He wanted to put his legal expertise to some use. During his 90th birthday party at home, Jesse played his favorite pieces in a 45-minute concert for an audience of family and friends. And as Tim mentioned, he had the rare pleasure at 91, of concertizing along with the great Dr. Tim Anderson, Joel Ross, Ruli Stallman, Ann Olson, and other very talented pianists in a wild pianorama at the Mendelssohn Club. Jesse Parker lived a long and full life with a minimum of health issues until his last couple of years. He stayed engaged with music at this church by singing a strong tenor with the Unicantors, subbing for Dr. Anderson on occasion, was a member of the fine Camerata Emanon Vocal Ensemble, and enjoyed participating in a memorable concert with the Nielsen Chorale. He relished evenings with good friends for dinners and games, interacting with his neighbors, visiting our favorite Starbucks, where he was known as Dr. Corduroy, working out at the YMCA, and talking all things wine with the buyer at Costco. He leaves behind good memories with his valued friends, much-loved sons, daughter-in-law and granddaughters, his brother and his nieces and nephews and their families, and my loving brother and sisters, his cats, and me. A life well lived and loved.
These, then, are a few of our thoughts and remembrances of Jesse Parker. Libby did a wonderful job. Thank you. Whether or not we have succeeded in accurately portraying his life, as Charles Gaines has written, no sum up the life of another. Life is too precious to pass over with mere words that ring empty. Rather, it must remain as it is remembered by those who loved, watched, and shared. For such memories are alive, unbounded by events of birth and death, and as living memoirs, we possess the greatest gift one person can give another. It is to each of you, then, that the living memories of Jesse's life are committed. To your hearts and minds go the enduring memories of his life. We will now have a moment of silence. I ask that each of you use these moments to remember Jesse as only you can. Let us enter into this moment with love. We will now sing together one of Jesse's favorite hymns, Blue Boat Home. Please rise in body or spirit.
Do we have the words? Because if not, we should give them a number. It's 1064 in the teal hymnal.
Teal hymnal. As we leave this place, we cherish the memory of Jesse. May we practice what Jesse lived: respect for the inherent worth and dignity of every person, offered with gentleness and a clear-eyed joy. And when grief comes close again, may we remember we do not face it alone. May love surround Libby, Stephan, Adam, and all those who love Jesse. May we keep showing up for one another, patient, honest, and kind. Go in peace, go in love. May Jesse's memory be for blessing. Please remain seated for the postlude as the family departs. After the music, you're invited to join us in Deal Hall to greet the family and join us for a reception.